Hello everyone, this is Melody Snowflake VA and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a character from Danganronpa 1, Trigger Happy Havoc, and that would be Celestia Ludenberg. And we're going to be analyzing her character quite a little bit. Before I begin, I'd like to tell you guys that this video will contain spoilers. Pretty heavy spoilers, in fact. So if you haven't gotten through the first game, I'd suggest not watching this yet. Otherwise, you're going to be spoiled pretty badly. So with that spoiler warning said, let's get straight into the video. Celestia Ludenburg is a complicated character. She's one of those characters that fit in my personal list of I like them because they are very complex and I see so much more depth in them than it's initially portrayed. Celeste, when you first meet her, appears to be prim, proper, posh, polite, but also secretive and mysterious. You don't really know what's going on with her. Even the main character, Makoto, suspects that there's more to her than meets the eye. He even tells himself that he needs to be more wary around her because he can't really be sure what she says is the truth. Celeste goes about most of the game being polite to almost everyone, and she doesn't seem to stir up any noticeable conflict. Apart from that one time, she acted kinda mad because Hifumi didn't make her tea the way she liked. She was mostly calm throughout the whole game. But then comes the third trial, where we find out that Celeste had plotted an elaborate scheme that honestly required a lot of strategy and good thinking to cause the deaths of two of her fellow classmates, Hifumi and Kiyotaka. And of course, when she got found out, she got pretty mad about that and completely lost her prim and proper nature, even her accent, which she was revealed to have been faking this whole time. She started swearing a lot, and the next thing we knew, she was cussing everybody out. Finally, when it was clear that she had lost, she dropped everything, admitted defeat, and accepted her punishment, her execution, which was, of course, being burned alive and then being hit by a fire truck before the fire could finish the job. So that's basically Celeste's arc throughout the game. I haven't finished DR3, so I don't know what happens to her before the events of Trigger Happy Havoc, but this is her arc throughout the first game. So let's look into all of this, because there's actually a lot more to unpack here than we would initially think. Her actions certainly are very, well, you wouldn't say they're on the morally good side of the spectrum, to say the least. But why? Why did she do it? She did explain it when she was found out. But I'll get into that a little bit later. First, we gotta backtrack a little bit and talk about the accent that she had been faking for the whole time. When she put on that fake accent, she told everyone her name was Celestia Ludenburg, and she acted all prim and proper and posh, and basically a bit like she thought she was European royalty. In fact, if you spend free time with Celeste, you find out that she tells you something along the lines of her father was a royal something from France and her mom is, I don't know, but basically I didn't see that actually. I found that out from the wiki. But basically something like that. She tells you that she comes from very noble parents. But the truth is, she made all of that up. In fact, when she admitted to her lies that she had lost and everything, she said something along the lines of how she's really good at lying to the point where she even managed to deceive herself. Which basically means that all of the things that she had told you were lies, but she genuinely believed in them because she was able to fake all of that even to herself. So she was almost utterly convinced, if not completely, that she was the person she's been saying she was. Why I say almost? Because there must have been constant reminders around her of who she really was. For example, the E-handbook that she was given. On the e-handbook, when you turn it on, it shows your real name. And Celeste's handbook does not show Celestia Ludenberg when you turn it on, as was evident during the trial. She refused to let you see it, especially after Kyoko and Makoto pointed out that it must show her real name. And the fact that she was so reluctant proves that it actually does show her real name, which isn't Celestia Ludenberg. Of course, Celeste wasn't going to tell anybody that because she wanted to be Celestia Ludenberg, this fake persona, this fake character she made for herself. And it's pretty evident why at the end, because as she was losing her temper, as she was yelling at everyone, and everyone was suggesting that her last name was Yasuhiro, she started screaming, and I quote, "Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you?" This shows that Celeste chose her name and her fake persona to feel less of a loser. Now, we don't get much background on Celeste's early childhood, but something about her childhood, her life, her family made her feel like it wasn't good enough, that she was a loser for being associated with that life, for living that life. And no matter what the reason, she was young and she was just a child at the time, and at such a young age, feeling like a loser can't be nice. In fact, feeling like a loser at any age can't be nice, but if you're really young and you feel like a loser, you're going to do anything to make yourself feel less of a loser. And we all know that when you're young, you have a really vivid imagination. Celeste, when she felt like a loser as a child, invented this fake persona, this fake life for herself to feel less of a loser, and it kind of became her thing, her coping mechanism, so to speak. It wasn't explicitly stated, but I guess we can infer that from the way she says things. Think about how quickly she admitted defeat. Of course, she was desperately holding on to her lies throughout the entire trial, but in the end, when Makoto outright said, "You lost, Celeste," she just went, "I lost? I lost? How long has it been since I had to say such words? They hang heavy around my neck." Or something basically like that. Which means Celeste actually knows what it was like to lose, but it was a long time since it last happened to her. And after that, shortly after she said that, she dropped her accent, she dropped her facade, she dropped her anger, and just said, "I'm the kind of person, once I lost, I don't like things to drag on." Which also proves that she has in fact lost before, just a very long time ago, as she stated. And the fact that she admitted it just like that, just accepted, "Yeah, I lost." Yeah, sure, it took her a while to stop holding on to her lies, but that's because she didn't want to believe it, or, accept it at first. But once it became blatantly clear that she's lost, she's like, "Okay, yeah, I lost." Which, to me, just basically proves that deep down, she feels like a loser. And when she, lost, it became blatantly clear that she lost, she's just like, "Yeah, I know." So, it's basically her whole fake persona, her accent, her fake name of Celestia Ludenberg, and yes, that is a fake name, in case you guys might have forgotten, because her name is Celeste throughout most of the game, until near the end. All of that was just to make her feel better about herself, because she felt like a loser. She invented this persona from when she was a young child because she felt like a loser associating with her family, with her current life, and so she tried to make her life appear more glamorous. This also brings us to the dream that I mentioned earlier, the reason why she committed the murders in the first place. She wanted to live in a castle with handsome young male servants dressed up as vampires serving her. Of course, that's a very medieval, royal-style dream, if you think about it. And once again, this stems from her need to feel less of a loser. In fact, I can easily just switch that around and say she wants to feel like a winner. She wants to feel like, she won stuff, that she's not a loser. And of course, that is the ultimate goal. I mean, if you live in a castle with people serving you all the time, you'd basically feel like royalty, wouldn't you? Of course, most of us would feel like we don't deserve such a thing. Even I wouldn't opt for such a life. But Celeste has felt like a loser her whole life, and she made this whole persona to feel less of it. So, when she finally decided that this was her ultimate dream, we don't know when she decided that, but when she, whether it be immediately from the moment she put up that facade or later, when she decided this is my dream, this is my ultimate goal, it was just a direct relation to what she's been doing. It's basically just an extension of that whole I am more, I'm more of a winner than my whole life actually tells me I am. She's also really good at lying, really good at deceiving, which is, why she's able to win so many gambling matches, because she's able to worm her way through them. So, of course, that did not help with the whole winning thing. In fact, that's what she wanted, because she wanted to feel less of a loser, and she wanted to feel like a winner. So, back to the dream, she wanted all of that, the castle, to feel more of a winner. And she got really desperate near the end of chapter 2, chapter 3, around there. And since Monokuma offered money as a reward, money is something Celeste is familiar with. As a gambler, like I said, she's able to worm her way through things. And winning money is something she's always been able to do. So in her head, even though she didn't try it the first 2 times, because money was involved, in her mind she immediately thought of it as a super elaborate big gambling match. And she's won every single one so far, so why should this be any different? So of course, because she was desperate, and because she wanted to accomplish her dream to make herself feel less of a loser and more confident in herself, she went ahead and concocted that elaborate scheme, which of course ultimately led to Hifumi and Taka's deaths. Of course, we all know that she did not win that, and of course she accepted it immediately and admitted that her real name was Taeko Yasuhiro, which honestly I'm gonna say is a beautiful name. Celeste, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's not a loser's name. I love the name. But anyway, yeah, we know she didn't win that, but she was so sure she was going to, because thanks to her whole persona and her whole skill with lying and everything, she was sure she could win it, because she's done it 100,000 times before with gambling. By the way, if you guys want to know some fun facts, Celeste started gambling 3 years before she initially came to Hope's Peak Academy. So she hasn't been doing it her whole life, just 3 years. So her whole elaborate scheme thing was about 3 years in the making. We don't talk about the memory loss, because from Celeste's perspective, it was 3 years. But before the gambling thing, she's already been doing the Celestia Ludenberg persona since she was younger. So I like to point out that the gambling thing was only 3 years ago. 3 years before she initially came to Hope's Peak anyway. So the whole persona is for confidence. It's to make her feel less of a loser, to make her feel more of a winner, to make her feel more important, make her feel more royal. And that's why Celeste did all of this. Now, there is one more thing about Celeste that's pretty interesting. The fact that she doesn't seem to care much about other people. At the end of the 3rd trial, she said it herself. When it was pointed out that she lost, she said, "Do you expect me to feel guilty?" And then admitted that she doesn't. So a lot of us, this could seem a bit cold. I mean, come on, you caused the deaths of 2 people and you're not gonna feel at least a little bad about it? Like, come on. But then again, if you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Celeste was a gambler, and a gambler who won every single gambling match. And if you're a gambler who wins every single gambling match, you have to be able to harden your heart so that you don't feel the guilt of taking millions of dollars away from your opponent every single time. Because if you feel the guilt from that, sooner or later it's going to get to you and you're not going to want to continue. And we all know that this gambling thing is to help Celeste raise the money she needs for her castle, which is to help her feel more of a winner. And this whole facade is also to help her feel more of a winner. And winning the gambling matches also help her feel more of a winner. So in order to feel more like a winner, she had to harden her heart, which explains how she wound up in a situation where she doesn't really care. But that does not in any way mean that Celeste is heartless. Monokuma stated at the end of the final trial, well, it wasn't Monokuma actually, now that I think about it, it was, spoiler alert if you came this far but you haven't gotten to the last chapter yet, spoiler alert, but I'll give you a moment to click away. Okay, so anyway, spoiler alert, it wasn't Monokuma, it was Junko who said that, you know, there was a theme to every single motive. And the first one was about personal connections, where the video that was given to each student showed the personal relations that meant the most to all the students, which basically means that, yes, even Celeste had someone that meant a lot to her. And we're going to go to a little bit of, I'm guessing DR3 spoilers here, even though I haven't really watched the DR3 thing yet. I saw something on the wiki, so spoilers, but she has a cat, and she really loves that cat. She spoiled him a lot, so Celeste isn't completely heartless. She has a heart. She's just hardened it around people, especially in relation to gambling matches. And remember how Celeste treated the final, the final trial that she was alive for, the third trial, the whole thing, the whole murder experience there in chapter 3 as a gambling match because money was involved. And since she hardened her heart in relation to gambling matches, she hardened her heart there. And that's why she did not feel bad about the murders, because she's used to doing that in gambling matches, just hardening her heart. The victims don't matter. She just, needs it because it's part of her ultimate dream. Now, after hearing all of this, you might think, well, that's kind of mean of her. I mean, come on, hardening your heart so you don't feel guilty of taking things from other people, whether it be money or life, that's mean. But think about it. It's her way of coping. Of course, it does not excuse any of her behaviors. But if you try to relate to her or understand her feelings for all of this, you realize that all the things she's done, no matter how extreme, no matter how crazy, no matter how illegal, it's all just in a very desperate attempt to battle her own personal insecurities of feeling like a loser. Of course, we all hopefully won't go to the extreme lengths that Celeste did. But can you really blame her for not wanting to feel like a loser? Sure, she did not go about it in the most legal way, even the most ethically right way, not even the most morally right way. But her ultimate goal was just to feel less of a loser. And don't we all want to feel better about ourselves? Don't we all want to feel good about ourselves? And Celeste, as messed up as it is, was just trying to do that for herself. And ultimately, as much as she did all these things, I personally can't blame her for wanting to just feel that way. If she had lived, if she had more time, maybe she could have learned that there are better ways to feel like a winner in life than to be this royal person, than to feel like she had royal heritage, than to feel like she could win every competition, every game she put herself against. Unfortunately, she didn't live, so she never got to see that. So, unfortunately, this makes her story a little tragic, if you think about it. She died. As satisfied as she was that she chased her dream till the end, never fully accomplishing what she needed, or at least thought she needed to accomplish to feel less of a loser. She said she was okay with it, of course, because she chased her dream near the end. But you can see in her eyes that she was afraid of death. You can see that she was scared, even though she acted completely calm. Of course, she wasn't completely sad at the end. She said she was satisfied that she chased her dream till the end. But it's just kind of tragic that she never got to fully feel like a true winner. Of course, if she had, it would have been at a very high cost. But if she had lived, maybe she could have learned to feel like a winner in a different way. Thank you for watching, everybody. Celeste's story honestly makes me feel a lot of emotions, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel bad for her. I feel really, really bad for her. And that goes for every character that I've ever liked, because no matter what they've done, no matter all the bad things or mistakes they've ever made, it comes from a place of pain. It comes from a place of wanting to feel something that isn't, the pain that they're experiencing. And I just wish, if Celeste was someone I could talk to, I just hope she could be someone who would learn that being a winner doesn't mean living an elaborate life, having an elaborate backstory. If she had lived, she would have probably been able to learn that, hopefully. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if I should make a AU about that. But we don't talk about my fanfic ideas in this video, because I'm completely sidetracking. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video and listening to my thoughts on Celeste. I honestly think she isn't a bad person. I think she just made really bad decisions in desperation to make herself feel like less of a loser. Her decisions may not have been morally good or correct, but to her, it was what she desperately needed to feel good about herself. Doesn't make them right, but it does make you think. I'll see you guys in the next video.